Welcome to Uncorked, Wine, Business, and Life with Bill Green. I'm Gerald Colton. Welcome to Saddle Hill Winery, and we are in the barn, in the stable. Actually, the original purpose that Bill Green bought this farm, of course, with a very special guest. Bill?
We have my good friend of many, many years, Tom Meyer. Tom is the CEO of Meyer Capital Group, based in Marlton, but does business in many places. And it is so special to have you, Tom.
Thank you, Bill.
Show.
Look, I can't tell you how great it is to be in the barn. And
This is a first.
It will really woke me up when I walked in here. Anyway,
Well, let's giddy up with the show.
We have so much history together. It was 1989 that Tom's wife, beautiful wife, Debbie, came to work for me as my assistant. And she was setting up her desk and setting up her new wedding pictures. And I said, wow, you're married to Tom Meyer. I know Tom Meyer since we were 16 years old. Just knew each other, weren't really friends. We both went to Camden County College
yeah, man.
for a year. I think I was 3 semesters. You were about the same, right? And so we knew each other from them, but we weren't friends. And then sure as heck, Debbie comes to be my assistant. We get together again. And man, it's been pretty... amazing ever since. But for me, what makes me so proud of you as one of my dearest, closest friends is that I walked into your office. So the name of the company at the time was Financial Architects. I had all the money I had to my name, $20,000. I owned my company, but it wasn't really making much at the time. And Tom Meyer had 20 million under management.
And this is what year? To give us
89. He started with 2 million under management. He
In 82.
took over his grandfather's business in 82 and hit 20 million. And today he has 2 billion under management, and I have a little more than 20,000.
And to both of you.
I have to tell you, though, he called me up and he says, hey, listen, I want to give you my investment portfolio. And this was 1989 or 1990. I said, wow, this is awesome, right? And we met at the Elgin Diner, and we're sitting there. And he was having his usual white egg omelet and a baked potato with French's mustard. Like, what is this guy? He's nuts. He says, here's my investment portfolio. And I looked at it. I know you won't have a problem with this. It was $20,000. He was proud as a peacock. He had $20,000 to invest into the market.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But Tom, you've built this amazing organization, and you've come so far. I want you to share with our listeners and our viewers kind of like the really early years and navigating around your grandfather and taking over a business in the little house on Church Road in Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
And give us kind of the backstory.
So my grandfather started a fee-only RIA in 1963, right? I mean, it was unheard of back then because Wall Street was all about product, selling loaded funds and contractual plans and tax shelters. And here he is trying to teach me the business about what an RIA is, especially a fee only. Because all my friends are out there driving BMWs and selling tax shelters, getting 10% off the top. Here I am making $100 a week. And I said, Gramps, you better be right about this because, I'm learning this business that really nobody really even knows what it is. So he taught me the right way to do business in this business. As I got laughed at and scoffed at the brokers, and they said, what is this? And at that point in time, I was custody of Charles Schwab, and they would say to me, what is this Schwab thing? What is an RIA? And believe it or not, they say, what is a fiduciary? Because that was Wall Street. And all of a sudden, everyone that was laughing at me wants to be like me. Now everybody wants to be a fiduciary. I don't know what took him so long, but we started with myself and my grandfather, just us two. Then I added Maria, who, by the way, is still with me after 40 years. I guess from a boss standpoint of view, she likes me.
It's good. That is such an impressive thing. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. And she's seen all this growth that when we were in this little tiny house and I would drive 100 miles for $50,000. I'd go have lunch with somebody for 20,000 apparently. And from there, my grandfather was right. If you do what's right by clients 100% of the time, this business will grow for you. And sure enough, it did. And I was off and running. I had 20 million in 1987 before the crash, and I went all the way back down to 15 million, and then built it back up to 20 million. Added more employees. And you know what's funny? You know, from an entrepreneur to that Rubicon and crossing over to what we say a corporate structure, and that means delegation, that means trust, right? And a lot of great small businesses don't want to go through that. And Bill helped me out a lot, of course.
Delegation?
No.
Still not as strong.
But never will be. But crossing that Rubicon to spend a little money, and I mean a little when I'm talking.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. But I mean, I got up to 80 million bucks, and I was in my little house, and I had grown to maybe 6 employees. Okay, and I said, okay, what do I want going in for the next, say, 5 to 10 years? Now, the margins were great, by the way. You're managing 80 million bucks. You got 4 employees. Things are pretty good. I could have been happy right then and there, but I decided to cross that Rubicon. And in 2001, I got up to about 90 million, almost 100 million. And then I opened up the purse strings, what purse strings I had, and moved into an office building and hired 3 more people. What happened a month after? 9/11. And I go right back down in the scale. And when you're fee only, again, you don't have commissions and trails or whatever backing you up. So I actually had to take out a credit card and make 2 quarters worth of payrolls because I didn't want to lay anybody off. I felt that strongly about the team that I built. And then, of course, the rest is history. And then some guy came in, he's so-called retired, into my new office.
Well, let me just kind of take a step back for a second. Eventually, I gave Tom the lion's share of my investment capital.
That's correct.
Stocks and bonds. And every time, I was getting pretty successful and running around Wall Street, and I was getting pitched by every major bank out there. And I would always say, oh yeah, I'm going to leave Meyer because I'm going to go to Goldman, and they're just bigger and better. And, and I'm going to go to Morgan Stanley or Alex Brown, whoever it was. And I will tell you honestly, every time I say I went to cheat on Tom, I got my ass kicked.
I didn't know this, by the way.
And you're just finding out?
No, and when people say to me, who manages your money, and I do business with JP Morgan now, and but majority of my stocks and bonds are with Tom. And it's because when most brokers or traders are walking into their office, Tom has been up for multiple hours. He's already read the journal. He's already read Barron's. And when I talk to these other guys and I say, so what do you think about Chevron? You think it's a good deal down here? Or now it's Facebook or whatever. And they'll say, well, let me get back there. I got to talk to my analyst. He don't have to talk to any analyst. He's the analyst, he's the relationship manager, and he's got this awesome team of people at Meyer Capital. But gets a little deeper. It was January 1st of 2002, and I just left as CEO of my first company, Wilmar, Interline Brands. And I asked Tom, Amy gave me a shopping list, and I said, there's no way I'm sitting home as a 43-year-old. I said, Tom, I need an office. So Tom gives me an office. I think this little set right here is bigger. I don't think it was more than 8 by 8. And 2 screens, gave me the Bloomberg. I was pretty bored with that.
He was trying to trade his own account.
I was trying to trade some of my own account. And Tom, there was something bothering me about Tom's company. And it was the name of his company. I said, he's got such an awesome name, Meyer, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Time, Solomon Smith Barney. Why is this not Meyer? People want to talk to Mr. Meyer. Why would you be called financial architects? It sounded kind of hokey to me. So I told Tom my feelings. And then next, Thomas.
Are you talking about your budget?
Yes.
All right. Look, I'm a bit frugal.
He has his
I
first,
like looking at the bottom line.
the first dollar he earned as a paper boy. He's still
Coming from you, that's a lot, Bill. But I relented. Bill said, "Look, I have nothing to do," and I told him this this so-called retirement isn't going to last. We know Bill. How long we've known Bill? It's just in his DNA.
No
But
question.
he had, believe me, spending 6 months every day right next to Bill Green. It was brutal. So I put him to work. He brought in, and back then, of course, you had to have a staff of people, a whole team of people to change your name. I gave him a budget of $10,000, $8,000, 10,000.
10.
Okay, that was a lot.
Don't make it worse than it is. Was.
And the rest is history. And he rebranded my company, and I made it, I guess, into chapter 7 in All In. Was that?
You did. You were in my book because it was such a great story because we called it Meyer Capital Group. And
Rebranding, if you think about it. And I mean, we were at $100 million then. So from there, we grew to $2.3 billion.
Tom, the interesting part to me is everyone has different talents. And Bill is one of the most creative entrepreneurs I've ever known. And the fact is, his brain never stops working. He tries to help everyone in his life, all his friends. And him telling you that bothered him, and you would use this name for 20 years and never thought about that being a problem, right?
That's one of the many attributes that Bill was included in our friendship, is also the business aspect. He's the most savvy business person I know. And I'm not just saying that, by the way. Kills me to say it. But
Who paid for that first one, by the way?
But you're just think about it. I mean, who knows? This guy right here, you know, the old adage, hey, you know, stick to what you know best. That's not him.
No.
He will dive deep in, and he dove deep into my business and said, this is probably the best way for you to grow your business.
And it did make a difference, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Now, I have a question for you also, because you talked about cheating on him. And I have had a problem with the institutional money manager or whatever, wealth managers my whole life, because I think it's a lot of BS, with all due respect to everybody out there, okay? Because mostly they are just salesmen and don't really know the products.
Wow,
So-
I was going to say that, but thank you.
Well,
Look, they're very good. We're just saying.
we're not knocking,
We're not,
and they're
yes,
good,
absolutely.
and you're safe, and there's a lot of reasons that they do
sure.
serve a purpose.
Yes.
But you're Bill's kind of guy. Because I know Bill, he will study everything. He's up at 5 every morning, and still is now, and he's studying, and he's learning. So what about him attracted you? And Tom, what about that aspect has made you different than going to the big brokerage houses?
yeah, I mean, Tom, for me, it was really just his knowledge. I mean, it felt like I was talking to Jim Cramer, right? From the street.com back in the day, where you could just name any stock and he would rattle, or Mad Money, right? And he would just rattle it off. And I just felt that there was and it was clearly a level of trust. He really, and I think this is the mantra, and that's you really care about your clients. You're not just trying to make trades and how much is this guy going to make me this month or this year. You're in for the long haul. And I tell all my friends that I'm going to pay a fee, whether it's up or down. But obviously, if it's down, that fee is less. If it's up, he makes more, I make more. And it really is a win-win. But I really want to boil it down to trust, because we are pretty damn conservative, and we've been conservative. I've been a conservative investor. I mean, open up a 70-acre winery.
I was going to say, except the business that you
This
invest
is
in.
probably the biggest gamble I ever took. But yeah, I mean, it was a level of trust that hasn't wavered for a lot of years.
And Tom, how do you separate yourself? Because clearly it has worked incredibly. And that endorsement right there is kind of all anybody would need, in my opinion. But what have you taken?
Oh, this is going to be all over the website, trust me.
Okay, but what have you taken to
You wanna
your
buy rights to the
approach?
show?
But your approach to business and lasting this long now, over 40-year career.
Well, first of all, we as entrepreneurs, we all want to learn by our failures. Okay, we all have them. Not even Bill Green bats 1,000, and he's got a ton of failures that he's learned from. We all learn from them. What we can do better, from a team wise, what can we do better? We want to make sure we hire the right people. That the culture is so vitally important. But Bill said this, and when you do surveys after surveys for investors, individual investors, number one is trust. Number one is trust. We have a little tagline that says "Cumata tua ante nostra." Believe it or not, in Latin that means your interest before ours. And I came
Love
up
it.
in this business that way. That's how my grandfather taught me, And that's how we do business. And that's the culture of our business is our clients come first and foremost, always, period, end of story. And that, you pass that on to the younger teammates that we now have. And when you look at the failures of what I had to deal with, I was up against Goldman and Morgan and Merrill and E.F. Hutton. You want to go that far back? Kidder Peabody. Oh man, am I aging myself? But and you think about it, and here I am, and they're not there anymore. There's no more E.F. Hutton. There's no more Kidder Peabody. So yeah, we're doing something right, and that is the trust factor. That is doing what's right by clients. And more so than anything, what brought instant credibility to us is also Charles Schwab being our custodian. Because when I started in, even when Bill came in, there was no Charles Schwab in the very beginning. We had to do this on our own. We were truly independent. And then Charles Schwab came out with this platform for fee-only registered investment advisors. And the rest is history. They now have roughly $10 trillion in assets right now. $10 trillion at 18,000 investment advisors. The fastest growing part of the money management business is the fee-only registered investment advisor. So I call it David versus Goliath. We were just like lumps on a log strewn about until Schwab put us all together. And we alone changed this business to the benefit of the individual investor. And by that, I mean, David beat Goliath. We beat what we call the dinosaurs. And we created more transparency. We created lower fees. Think about this. Stockbrokers used to be called stockbrokers. When did they stop being called stockbrokers? Probably around the mid-90s when all of a sudden investment advisors were it. The stockbroker was the thing of the past.
Yeah. So at this point, because this is on court,
Perfect time.
and we talk about wine, and this one's really we're doing something today that we've not done on any of the episodes. So I have a blind tasting for you because I'm gonna have you pour wine that came out of this. I have to move my mic here a little bit. I'm gonna grab this, and this is the wine. And the only reason why I'm doing this, you and I and Amy and Debbie we've drank a lot of this.
Yeah,
style.
one of the benefits of being very good friends with Bill is the amazing wines. The amazing wines.
I'm always used.
And Tom, from what I know,
You used me for my wine.
You are used.
I
but
love
Tom,
it.
from what I know, your love of wine actually came with the great assist from Bill.
I'll tell you what, real quick. 1996, I'll never forget the year. Your first event, it was, I believe, Summit.
Yeah.
Am I right about 96?
Yeah. Yeah.
He calls me up and says, we're going up to New York and we're going to Sotheby's for a wine auction. Picks me up in a limo. Back then, the big limos,
Big old limo.
We go up to New York, and that was my first experience just watching this wine. And back then, they had the things that were click, 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 the clicker. And he was bidding against restaurants all over the country. He was raising that paddle up left and right. He didn't know what he was doing. She had no clue.
Well, I didn't need to resell it. I give a shit about margin for it, man. I wanted that wine, and I wanted a case.
I cannot tell you the crates of the Bordeaux that he bought. He had no idea what he was buying, what they're worth today. And when he would crack one of those suckers, I said, I was there when you bought that.
Yeah.
Do you still have some of that?
I actually should have brought one of those wines that we bought at that night. But let's do this. This is a Chardonnay, and I want you to take a taste of it.
Okay. Chardonnay, huh? Hold it. I got a problem with my
Yeah, it actually got a little warm because we're sitting in the barn.
The barn. Oh, Billy, that's so easy. It begins with an R.
What do you think it tastes like? You really... That's where I was going.
Fruity.
Is there... You said an R.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
You think it tastes like?
Umbrella?
Okay, so that was my goal. Not that this
This is a good-
this is not a promotion for Saddle Hill, but we do have... Peter is just an amazing winemaker. But the Meyers and the Greens have drank a lot of Runbauer Chardonnay together. It was kind of our go-to wine. This is the 2023
Are you kidding me?
Barrel Reserve, Saddle Hill Barrel Reserve
kidding?
Chardonnay. It's not in a bottle. We haven't bottled it yet. It was in
Wow.
it was in oak for almost 18 months.
Wow.
And I'm just blown away. I mean, this is going to be
Bill,
different.
the Rumbauer closed for how much?
So it was, when we first started drinking it was kind of like in the $30 range. But, I think it's pushing 50 right now.
It's an everyday, it's a beautiful everyday,
But not cheap.
not cheap. No,
Not cheap.
No.
Or every day for, depends
Every day.
on.
Well, that's true. Every day for Bill Green. That's why I hang out with Bill.
But for you to taste that and think it was rum barrel,
Wow.
that is
Very good, Bill.
well done. And your winemaker is phenomenal.
He really is.
That's
So-
one down.
One down.
And plenty more stories to go to number 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Now, I personally like the little guy. Not that you're a little guy, but I like the little guy over the big corporate structure and anything. And I think, Bill, part of it and branding it with your name as part of the company is when he walks through the door, when anyone walks through the door, they're getting you. They're getting you. And I just think that means so much. You're not getting Mr. E.F. Hutton or whoever else. You don't know the Solomon brothers. And I just think that matters so much.
Yeah, for sure. But there's the other aspect of that is not only is it me, but it's a team around me. Because, look, I get hit by the bus 100 times a year during our discussions of succession and what have you. So we want to make sure that, God forbid something happens to me, that the team knows about my clients, I know about their clients, and we kind of do it like the old-fashioned way, like what was that John Husband used to say, right? We do it the old-fashioned way, right?
John House's,
we earned it, and we earned it, and we earn it, and we earn our stripes for sure because we care about our clients, I care about my team, and that's why the second step of my we'll call it evolution, if you will, and that was making sure that succession is in place. I care about my clients. I care about my my team. And I, about 2 years ago, I partnered up with Hightower Advisors out of Chicago. And there are 2 reasons I did that. One was the fact that I could see the forest for the trees. And if in this business, if you do not have the full suite of services, estate planning, right, tax prep, tax analysis, if you do not have that under one roof, this business is going to fly right by you, in my opinion. And they brought that to the table as a partner, and I was able to keep my brand. I was able to keep my team. In fact, there was only one casualty that I had, and she was very happy that I had to let her go, and that was my wife. She was so happy. She was HR.
You did not let her go as your wife.
Just
to be clear.
No. But
Overworked and underpaid anyway.
yeah. But I mean, this is the next.
There's nepotism clauses in there.
Believe me. She was with me for 20 years and she was ready. And she was so happy when we finalized it. And she was the first one to go right out the door. It was like the next day.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. So you go from, being the solopreneur, right? No partners. And now you have partners. How's that? How does that change your day?
It was very,
For me, it was always really scary.
And you went through it.
Yeah, you did.
Multiple times.
You did.
Big time.
But you
Big
do
time.
remember, right? I mean, think about it. When I want something done, I want this done, that done, cut a check here, blah, blah, blah. And here, it's a whole different ballgame. I have to go through a process, through a procedure that, okay, I'm just getting more used to that. It's very, very tough. There's no doubt about it.
Compliance.
But they let us do, but that was the second reason, okay, was I no longer have to do the 3 things that when I would meet with my COO twice a week, 8 o'clock in the morning, she would sit me down and I would say, here we go with Groundhog Day. 3 things: compliance, technology, and HR. Guess what? I don't have to deal with that anymore.
1 and 3 are really bad too.
Oh, brutal. And the fact that I don't have to deal with that anymore allows me to have more time to grow the business. And it's amazing when you take a step back. And the whole thing about having a partner, right? Yeah, that's tough. It gets used to. But when you step back and think about all the time that I shouldn't say waste, that I devoted to those 3 bullet points, man, I look back and say, wow, so I'm almost like I'm a free man. And because I didn't do an outright sale and Meyer Capital gone and half my team gone, it's basically nothing has changed except those 2 things. A, having to go through a process to get things done. And then B, the good thing, the best thing, of course, not having those,
You know,
three things to worry about.
Tom, you and I mean, kind of know each other as good as anybody can know each other. We share a lot of the same values when it comes to family. Your kids are like my kids, vice versa. My kids, it's basically Aunt Debbie and Uncle Tom. You brought your kids in right out of college to the business against my advice. I felt that they had to go somewhere and learn. They could really appreciate Dad's business. That, man, my dad is a great leader and a great manager, because I saw something, so they didn't. But I am so jealous because you just are knocking the cover off the ball when it comes to bringing the boys in. And I talk to them and they just have the utmost respect. And so far, they're not trying to overthrow you.
No,
So talk about the boys.
Not yet. But this is one idea that I went against Bill's advice. And I mean, my kids it was in their DNA. They were stuffing envelopes when they were 5 years old at the, the dining room table. It was their choice. I did not force it. Do you want to get involved in this business?
But we know you didn't pay them a lot, because that's the Tom Meyer way.
That was part of the deal. Didn't it? But so with my oldest, with Tommy, I was trying to actually get him an outside job with another advisor, believe it or not. But it just so happens, as I was saying, that somebody had just retired and we had this opening. And he came in, no lie, grunt work, assistant to an assistant to an assistant, not reporting to me, by the way. But he was like a little lamb in our meetings. He wouldn't say a word. And if you look at him now, 5 or 7 years later, it's amazing the growth. And by that, and I think the reason for that is because they start at the bottom. They didn't start with me. Mm-hmm. I'm not attached at the hip with him. He was reporting to somebody else. It was almost like it wasn't really working for me. That's the way I did it, Bill. I mean, I know even with Sid and you said, hey, you can't do it that way. And with Mark, it was the same way. Honestly, he still complains. He's still doing grunt work, but he's really evolved and he's just doing an amazing job. And both of them are. And I couldn't be prouder of them. And the fact that they're not entitled and that they're part of the team, and everybody just respects my boys because of that.
Yeah. And listen, Bill's all about doing the grunt work, and I see you do it all the time still, and it's wonderful, and it keeps you humble, and everyone else sees you do it, and it helps. I think,
and even though we have all these guests, and they talk about delegation, and that's when they really were able to become super successful when they learn that. And again, I do try. I'm not very good at delegation, but I work really hard at it. But just because I might pick up a piece of trash on the floor, where a lot of CEOs won't, and that's literal, right? I just think that why would I expect anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself?
And that you copy what you have right there. I am the same way, and I mean I'm right there. I'm whatever needs to be done at the office, I do it. I'm not on a pedestal. The whole trash picking up the trash is a great example of how you lead and how you're part of the team, and you're not this part of this hierarchy, which is big in my business. I mean, there were CEOs. I remember of a big major wirehouse that people couldn't take the same elevator with them. I mean, come here, friggin' break.
Yeah. Well, on that note, as an example, when I have 80 people in hospitality, over 100 employees here at Saddle Hill, I didn't ask anybody to pour this wine. I poured it ourselves. So with that, let's go to the next wine. So we have the very next one is the wine without the. I marked them the best I could.
The one that was the left.
The one without the tape.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
Right.
Yep.
You may.
Yep. That's
You want to give an introduction to it, or just taste it?
No,
And then
I want you to taste it, and then I'll tell you what it is. Gerald,
Those
you've had this. Tom, maybe a while ago you've had it. This is a 2009 Screaming Eagle. All Cabernet Sauvignon. Rated 100. A wildly
You know,
Well,
I just want to
most
tell you,
expensive
it took me
bottle of
4
wine
years of
myself.
friendship. And finally, I got a little screaming eagle. Okay, but thank you for thinking of it.
And just for the watchers, listeners, the price range of this.
I don't know. You know, today to buy them from the winery direct is like $12.50 a bottle, but on auction, this is going to yield over $4,000
Wow,
a bottle. So we don't pour a lot of it, Tom.
that's obvious, Bill.
Yeah. So this is just kind of like an ounce
savor.
to wet your whistle.
This has been a long time coming,
Right.
And I just don't know. I just would like to sit here for another.
Okay.
You know what? While you're sitting there, then, because this is a good time for me to interject this. I'm a father of all boys. Did like you did, coach them, and you know they were and have been my life ever since they entered this world. How cool is it to work with your sons?
So it starts with coaching, by the way. And I coach football, lacrosse, and baseball. And Tommy, not so much, but Mark got the brunt, maybe because it was football. Definitely got the brunt of me, more so than the other kids, right? But at the same time, I do not do that in the office, okay? They respect me immensely, too, what you said. I'm so incredibly lucky. And the fact that I treat them with respect goes such a long way. Not to look down, granted they were doing the grunt work, but it's that trash on the floor scenario that whatever they need help with, I'm going to be there. And, you know, the whole succession will be, look, I think I'm going to be doing this business. My grandfather did it until he was 87. I can be doing this until I'm in my 80s. We also have an office in Naples, though.
Yeah. Where you are now a resident.
Yes, I am. But it's such a great feeling. But more so to see the development, just like on the football field, and to see them develop year after year after year and get you better and better and better and more confident to talk to clients. And let's face it, when you're in the money business, it's not all a bowl of cherries. Okay, just what we've been going through in the last few months. Or when a client dies, or when a spouse of a client dies, how do you handle that? You know, it takes time for sure. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy on how you handle things because we're taking a seat at the kitchen table. We're part of the family.
But seeing them every day has to be pretty cool.
Every day. Every day.
And we could all hope to be that close and to have that. And the other part is on coaching. I actually think besides the father or mother, the coaches can play the most significant role in a kid's life and their formation.
Well,
and it's just
you know that firsthand. You have all these sports clients.
And a coach just plays such a significant role, and it can be such a blessing to be a coach in someone's life and to be able to do that with your kids and all that stuff. I mean, I just some of the good things on Facebook are like when you get those, memories. And I had the 13-year memory of coaching my kids to the South Jersey flag football championship, but I had all three of my boys. It was a great memory, and those were amazing times.
There's nothing like it. And when you can change, I'll never forget this. And during 2008, it was a very, very difficult time. I mean, in the markets. These kids were my therapy. Now, football is a little bit more yelling, but I always ended up positive. Always ended up positive. And I got a letter from one of the kids I coached thanking me about what I meant to him and the confidence that I instilled in him that he got a girlfriend. And we gave him a nickname, and he was so happy about that nickname. And I'll never forget it. And it meant so much to me because when you instill confidence in the kids, no matter what happens, it's got to always end on a positive, right? No matter whether it's football, lacrosse, baseball. But I will say there's different coaching baseball to football.
Sure.
Completely.
There's something about a uniform, that helmet, and stepping on the field that all coaches just yell.
And look, my football coach, the old adage is you got to worry when your football coach stops yelling at you. It's very, very true.
Where did you play? And what did you play?
I played linebacker and center. But my coach, Herb Fisher, do you want to go?
At Cherry West,
You'd have to go,
Yeah,
yes.
absolute legend.
I'm going to say, really saved my life. My dad died when he was 50. I was 16, vulnerable, it was very drug era, if you will. And football changed my life. taught me dedication, taught me team.
You graduated West what year?
Really,
Well,
77.
like Joel Yaffa or Stuart Yaffa.
Yeah, we played.
I know. I had a lot of friends.
Stuart was he played left
was a
linebacker,
78.
played right linebacker.
Yeah, and let's see if you've ever tasted this wine at Cherry Hill West. This last wine is one of my all-time favorites.
That's good.
Totally.
Wait, I want one last tribute for a toast here.
Okay.
Okay, because you started in business for your grandfather. I want to hear about that and why, and then we're going to give a toast to your grandfather.
Wow, that is a great question. So, like my kids being in their DNA, it was also in my DNA. So I saw him, and I would help him file because he was by himself at that point. He was 82 years old. He had like $2 million. We had 8 clients, I think. That's a deep question because.
All right, we can save it. I don't want to.
All right, let's go.
I should not have thrown it out.
Okay.
First, this is going to be a toast to your grandfather.
It's going to be a toast to Clarence
and
Whipple. That's a crazy name, huh?
Well, how about Whipco? How about that one?
Yeah, name of the company was Whipco. I guess when your last name is Whipple, you go for Whipco.
Completely different taste right here.
I'm not sure it's fair to ever follow a Screaming Eagle.
Yeah, but it's totally different.
I know.
Oh, not
In
And it is wonderful.
Yeah, this is a 1999 Chateau Lafite Rothschild.
It wasn't 90. It wasn't what we bought, obviously.
No. So we were with
What
Tom
you
when
bought?
we went to that auction, and I went to multiple auctions, but that was I was really buying 82s kind of through 90s. And then when I started collecting wine in 96s, I didn't have to buy, the early 90s because I was buying them direct from the wineries or whatever. So now this is
It's still
very, very special wine.
It is.
What a difference, though. I mean, when we went to Bordeaux, it's just going to Bordeaux.
And you went on this trip together.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But what a difference from Napa to Bordeaux.
Oh my God!
Right.
Remember what year was it? Not that long ago.
2019.
No, 2019.
Right before.
No, the Eagles were.
No, that was Napa.
Well, yeah.
We went
Napa.
to Vermeil.
And we went to who I just had dinner with last week.
And we'll
Yeah.
be joining
Coach
us
Vermeil,
on court
who
sometime.
hopefully will be joining us on Uncorked, was just the most inspirational guy. But Tom and I, as
coach.
diehard Eagle fans, are running around Coach Vermeil's little tasting room in actually Napa, California.
It was
not
in the town.
Yeah, it was in the town, and we had a real great
And to
time.
talk about an influence of a coach, Dick Vermeer coached NFL players. They all still rely on him and talk to him all the time.
Well, don't forget, he went through the ranks too, right? I mean, look, he was at UCLA, and then I think he won the Rose Bowl, and then Toast came in and said, "Hey, I want you to be my guy." And it was talk about a learning experience.
And he was young. He was
young,
young.
a learning experience.
And by the way, he's also now the youngest 85-year-old guy.
88,
By the
and
way,
he is
he-
so inspirational. I want to be
great.
when I grow up.
He looked great.
Hey, Tom, you've done a lot in your career. You've raised a beautiful family. You have an amazing lifestyle. But you're still charging. I know who to call early in the morning when I want to hear what the market's going to do
It's going to
today.
be like that for another 15 years.
Okay, we got it. But what is next?
Why put an end date?
Well,
Yeah, why put an end? What
you know-
is next? Like you really want to.
You know what? You reach a point in time, like when I did this partnership, I didn't want to take the capital at this stage to go ahead and bring attorneys in house. Nothing against attorneys.
I have a lot of, and I'm an attorney.
Yeah, I know.
I get it.
And CPAs in and say, hey, I've got this whole family wealth management firm now. It's all in, and so going forward, I want to make things a little bit easier, right? I want to be able to do what I love to do, and that is this. And remember, getting rid of those 3 bullet points that we talked about is making my life much easier to enjoy my life, Bill. I mean, look at you. I don't have the DNA. I'm not going to go out and start another business at 66 years old.
I was 62 when I bought Saddle. When I bought this.
A kid.
Yeah, but don't forget, you also had it in your DNA. You retired all of 5 months, which we knew was 5 months. I didn't think it was that.
I didn't think it was
going to. I didn't think it was going to last 5 months. For God's sake, And then you start all these other businesses and, blah, 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 blah. But that's in your DNA. And of course, you were younger. Probably wouldn't have done maybe what you did when you were at the ripe age of, what are you now? 67?
I'm
67.
Marlo, 66.
Don't rush him.
You're 6 months older than me, so let's not go there. But
Yeah.
let's
So what's next is, we've had a terrible, terrible year for clients that have passed, clients that I've known for 20, 30 years, that, it really wakes you up and say, hey, enjoy yourself. As much as I love work, and I do, and I'm there for my clients all the time, but it doesn't mean I can't take a little bit more time and enjoy myself. So I think I've earned my stripes, so to speak.
And give a tribute to your grandfather that I cut you off on before.
Yes. And, it's interesting getting back to that about why did I go with my grandfather? I was going to CCU. At the time, I was driving forklifts part-time, going to school, and then driving forklifts in a warehouse, and then working for my grandfather at night, just helping him file. And we would have these discussions about, what he went through. He started in the 50s selling mutual funds in 1955, which is pretty amazing, right? So he got interested, but I'm telling you, this RIA business, I could have gone to Harvard. Okay, I could have gone to
you're
Harvard.
good enough.
Well, if I could.
I couldn't have gone either.
If I could have, okay, what professor is going to teach me about an RIA in that business, which was just like flying under the radar screen? Nobody would. My grandfather was my professor. And he taught me everything about this business that I now teach my kids, and now I teach my younger team. In fact, we've gotten what do we have, 12, 10, 11, 12 portfolio managers? If you carve me out of that, our average age is only at 45. So my succession is done. Not that I'm going anywhere, but it feels good.
You need to help me with this, because I have 70 acres, 100 employees, and I don't know who's gonna.
So that's a big problem.
So maybe give me some advice.
I said, when we're talking about this back and forth about what's going on, and we confide in me and we talk about, have a cigar, and say, Bill, you're fooling yourself. Okay, you're going to buy this thing and you're going to be totally immersed. Exactly, you know that.
At first, she told you he was going to ride horses, right?
Oh yeah, I've just got my
Which he
horse.
does.
and then it started with a barn, and then hey, wow, I can do a winery and a restaurant. Like, he was a guy that never owned a restaurant, never owned a bar, never owned a winery, and here he is with this beautiful Saddle Hill that only Bill Green. I'm just putting you on a pedestal and it's killing me. That only Bill Green could have done, because he immerses himself, 110% in his next project. But one thing I will say, and everybody in the office says that, because everybody in the office knows Bill. He's never been happier. He's a pleasant guy on the phone. It's not about profits. It's not about losses. It's about living his life, doing what he wants to do, and riding his horses now. You know what? He really doesn't pay attention to the markets.
I know.
So cheers to you, Bill. You proved me wrong.
I really. You know what? I have a lot of confidence in what Tom is investing in for me. And what am I going to do? Look at red arrows. I'm only going to get
You try that. You try
green
that.
hour. It just doesn't matter anymore. And I've learned how to delegate financial management and not worry about it.
Gentlemen, to both of you, this is, to me, the greatest thing that you could have in life. Friendship, family, and business, all interrelated, all successful, and all about happiness, with a whole lot more to go. Your beautiful wives are waiting for you. And they are.
We look like it wasn't Candyland, right? I mean, we worked our asses off to get where we got.
No one gave you anything, either one of you. Maybe your grandfather helped.
And every day is not peachy either, right?
But this is what when I do roundtables and seminars, and I say, listen, especially to the younger Turks, I'll call them, right? Hey, you better have the right partner. Let's not forget about our partners, what you just said. All right, I was late for birthdays, sometimes on holidays, and growing this business, and my wife was all in. Great book, by the way. And if you want to grow your business, you better have the right partner, because there's been a lot of great business ideas and business people that, because there was a friction at home and the spouse didn't, they weren't all in. It unfortunately.
Well, I got to. On that note, I will tell you honestly, for those partners, spouses, male, female, it really doesn't matter. But my wife and I had a major issue years ago. I mean, I was probably 34, 35, and she was 31. And one of our friends called her up one day and said, hey, you know, so-and-so and I are it's going to be 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We're going to go somewhere. Why don't you guys come with us? And Amy said, no, Bill's at the office. Well, wait a minute. He can't take off? And as she goes, no, I'm not even going to ask him. And, we probably a couple of years later, we bought a nice size house and they got divorced and moved to apartments. And look, it does take sacrifice.
I know what you're talking
and the
about.
sacrifice is what a lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to today don't want to do. They want everything. They want their freedom. They want to be able to work from home.
And they want it now.
And they want it now. And they don't, when somebody says, oh, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? Well, fuck, man. I worked my butt off and took risk and then kept going.
Well, because that ties into what we talked about a little bit earlier, which is the grunt work teaches you humility and to appreciate everyone that comes. But it's also, you don't want to spoil anybody, because here you guys you were hungry and you're still hungry. I don't exactly know how you still are after all this time, but you're still hungry because it's something in your DNA. How do you keep your kids hungry?
Yeah, again, it comes with that experience and that humbleness, which is and I stress this over and over again. Don't be the smartest guy in the room. Keep an open door and an open mind policy. I've been doing this for 43 years and I learn something new almost every day. You've got to keep that open mind. And my kids, I have the utmost confidence. I won't be around in 30 years from now, probably. I have the utmost confidence that they're going to do just that. You instill that into them day after day. And that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Bill, from my standpoint, just hearing the two of you talk, there is not a better person to handle your money than this guy. And I mean it because you guys are so similar in so many ways and complement each other.
How much I lose today? Market's down. Red.
Oh, now you're looking at the red hours.
I'm
Is
kidding,
that the
I'm
deal?
kidding.
And he still has the original 20,000,
You're-
right?
Yeah. That he does. That he does.
Well, Bill, thanks for bringing Tom on. What a fantastic
Cheers,
time we
gents.
spent
We got a
together.
little bit left.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much.
And thank you all for listening and tuning in. And we'll catch you next time on Uncorked.